If you were born in the 90s, then you're fortunate to be included in the luckiest generation so far. Kids in the 90s experienced life without technology and utilized the outdoors for their enjoyment, but they were also able to embrace how technology and the gaming industry came to life. The 80s and 90s are the time when gaming consoles were prevalent, and these were the years where the true icons of the gaming sphere were started. Now in the 2020s, the kids who once enjoyed the old gaming technology have their own kids, who more often than not are glued to their smartphones. So take your pick of the list of the best retro gaming consoles available on the market today. Let your kids feel the same way you felt when you first played these while back in nostalgia as you bond with them. Are you ready? Then let's start. The first product on our list is the Nintendo Universal Super NES Classic Edition, a sure contender for the world's most loved console. Nintendo's Super NES will surely give you a great splash of nostalgia. Coming from Nintendo, one of the most revered, longest-lasting, and most loved video game companies out there, this console and the cartridges that came along with it are considered rare gems nowadays. In this classic special edition, you get to enjoy 21 of the most loved games on the SNES, and this miniature edition comfortably sits in the palm of your hand. But don't belittle the power of the 16-bit retro gaming perfection. Some of the games included in this new edition of the classic 90s Nintendo console are Super Mario Kart, Super Mario World, Zelda, and Donkey Kong Country. Plus, you can get the first ever release of Star Fox 2. Live out the golden age of the 90s, but with modern technology, because the kit includes an HDMI cable, USB charging cable, and 2 Super NES Classic controllers. The 21 classic games are pre-installed and can be played with just a few push of buttons. You just have to choose which games you like to play from the menu. And in this new version Classic Edition, you're able to create save points and can save up to 4 suspend points. And there's an all-new feature that lets you rewind your game for a minute or more depending on your last save point. So go ahead and experience your childhood all over again with this nostalgia-filled SNES Classic Edition. Next stop is the Sega Genesis Mini. This miniaturized version of the Sega Genesis console that defined a generation can now be yours with a new plug and play technology. Who doesn't know Sonic the Hedgehog? Sonic is a 90s beloved icon that's most loved by players of all ages. Sonic was introduced to the world by Sega, and in this new version of Sega, get Sonic the Hedgehog with the first wave of games, included in the final 40 games in 4 waves. At 2.9 by 10.6 by 7 inches, this miniature replica fits in the palm of your hand. Enjoy the iconic games of the 90s from Sega in this new plug-and-play version. Just plug the device and enjoy with sweet memory bliss. As advertised, the 40 games that will be included with the console will be released in 4 waves. Get titles like Sonic the Hedgehog, Toe Jam and Earl, Echo the Dolphin, Castlevania, Bloodlines, Space Harrier, Shining Force, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Comic Zone, Altered Beast, and Gunstar Heroes in the first wave. Crowd favorites Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Earthworm Jim, Shinobi, and Contra are among the most popular games included in the second wave. In the third wave, you get to play another gaming icon from Sega, Mega Man: The Wily Wars. This, along with Street Fighter 2, Wonder Boy, and Monster World are must-haves from the third wave. And finally, get iconic games like Virtua Fighter, Kid Chameleon, Light Crusader, and Monster World in the fourth wave. Imagine having all 40 games in your console. Do you think you'll ever be able to stop playing it? Because I don't think I will. Are you still there? Because before we continue with the next product, we'd like to take this opportunity to ask you to subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon to be notified when we upload our next videos. Now let's continue. The third console on our list is the Atari Flashback 8 Gold Deluxe. Coming from Atari Interactive, one of the leading interactive gaming producers in the new portable gaming system that includes a whopping 120 classic games from the 90s. A must-have if you're into retro gaming consoles. The new Atari Flashback comes with 2 wireless controllers and 2 paddles. Just plug the system in and enjoy up to 720p resolution for all the games included. Recreate the 90s arcade feeling with the classic Atari joysticks. Make the gamer in you jump with joy with 120 games, which include popular titles like Asteroids, Breakout, Centipede, Millipede, Frogger, and Space Invaders, just to name a few. This console is filled with so many classic games from Atari 2600 that are sure to give you that blast to the past, well-endowed trip. This miniature version is roughly half the size of the original console in the 90s, and it's complete with the wood strip in front and the raised back part that houses the buttons. And the only difference of this small replica is that the controller slots for the portable one are in the front. The old one has its ports in the back. Other than that, the portable plug-and-play Atari Flashback 8 is a must-have for any 90s kids. The fourth item on our list of retro consoles is the Sony PlayStation. Who would forget what probably is the most iconic console and pastime of the 90s kids? In this remake of the 90s classic, the PlayStation gets a little spruce up as a smaller version of the classically loved console that marked a whole new gaming generation. Approximately 45% smaller than the original, the mini version of the classic PlayStation is complete with the familiar logo, as well as the buttons from the old historical classic. This plug-and-play device comes with an HDMI cable that you can plug directly on your TV. It also has the familiar feel of the classic controller, that's wired for that nostalgic bouts of multiplayer games that you used to love. The PlayStation Mini Recreation comes with 20 of the most loved games from the original console. You don't have to worry about CDs anymore, because all the games are pre-installed and ready to play with a click of a button. Some of the games that are included are Final Fantasy VII, Tekken 3, Metal Gear Solid, Resident Evil Director's Cut, Siphon Filter, Grand Theft Auto Battle Arena, and Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, just to name a few. PlayStation has been in the gaming scene since 1994, when the classic PlayStation 1 was released. Today, PlayStation 5 is set to come out, but hundreds of gamers still value the games that they've grown to love playing in the first PlayStation that they had as a kid. Are you excited about the last console? Before that though, we want to remind you to use the comment section below if you have anything to say, or if you have requests for videos in the future. Now on to the last product. The last console on this list is the Sega Genesis Classic Game Console. The second Sega console on this list deserves the last spot, not only because of the games it comes with, but mainly because of how it has already sold over 35 million units. Looks like the 90s kids that were brought up in the generation of old school gaming couldn't resist having this refurbished replica of the old classic Sega Genesis. Unlike the other previous versions of Sega replicas that had wireless controllers, this version right here stays true to the old iconic console by including two wired controllers used with original controller ports, giving the original gamers the best gaming of their life. Pre-packed with 81 classic Sega games, it's no wonder that this became a bestseller. Some of the games that are included are the all-time favorite Sonic games, Mortal Kombat, Virtua Fighter 2, Phantasy Star, and Mortal Kombat 2, just to name a few. What may be the most important feature to note here is that this is not a miniature version. This is an actual sized Sega Genesis that you can play your old game cartridges on. So in addition to the 81 pre-installed games, add more games to play if you can dig up your old cartridges from your attic. Just a reminder, you'll need to buy a separate HDMI RCA adapter to connect it to your television, but buyers are convinced that the extra step is worth it for the value that this console brings. Did this list take you down nostalgia lane? Wouldn't it be nice just to have it all and spend all your days playing the games? We know how you feel, so go on and take a pick at what you want. For more information and the best prices of the consoles on this list, check their links in the description box below. Finally, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so you can get notified when we post new videos. And thanks for watching.